Welcome back. You know, once you know how to cook them, they can be a go-to meal for the entire family. What are we talking about? Ribs.
We love some ribs in our
But
household.
learning how to cook them.
We were just talking about this.
Yeah, once you get that down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And today, cookbook author Erica Schlick is going to show us how to make her honey glazed pork ribs. So take a look.
Hi there, today I'm going to be showing you how to make my honey glazed pork rib recipe. And ribs are actually very easy to cook. The trick is to cook them for a long time at a very low temperature. So I'm going to show you how to prepare them to get the ultimate rib today. And as you can see, I've already got my ribs laid out on my foil here, and we've got the meat side down. So I want to talk about the ribs, the actual bone side. Sometimes they're going to have a silver membrane that you're going to want to cut off with a knife, and the reason you do that is to keep your meat tender. If you leave it on, your meat can be very chewy. And really the preparation is very easy. So I've got the ribs down on my foil, and we're going to use a little bit of coconut oil that I have here melted, and you can just pour a little bit on your foil, and you can use a pastry brush to spread that around, and that's just to help grease it so that the meat can really get a nice brown and start to get tender. And we've got a little bit of sea salt here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that on the oil and then also on the meat. And you want to make sure to put your meat side down with the bones up. And that's pretty much it. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this in foil. You want to make sure it's a very tight wrap, and that's going to keep all the heat and the steam in while we bake it. And just fold it over. And as you can see, that's nice and tight. So now we're going to put that in our oven, and we're going to bake these for 3 hours at 275 degrees. And once they come out, we're going to go ahead and put our glaze on. And I've gone ahead and pulled our ribs out of the oven now, and they've been cooking for about 3 hours. And now we're going to make our honey glaze. So I have half a cup of honey, and we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of tamari. You can also use coconut aminos. And I have 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. And we've got some seasoning. I've got 1 teaspoon of garlic powder and 1 teaspoon of onion powder as well. And so I'm just going to use a whisk and combine that. And it's going to be a nice thick kind of honey style glaze. And what we're going to do once we have this mixed up is we're just going to go ahead and apply it to the meat side of our bones. And you can always put a little bit on the back side with the bones as well. And then we are going to pop these back in the oven for about 10-15 minutes, just until the glaze gets a nice kind of glazed, crispy layer on top of the ribs, and our ribs will be ready to eat after that. So here is our glaze. Gonna go ahead and glaze both of these, and whatever glaze is left over, like I said, you can just kind of use a pastry brush. You can lift the ribs up a little bit, and you can just kind of paint the backside of it. You can even pour a little bit on the pan. It's just going to give it a nice kind of crispy glaze for the bones to sit in. And that is ready to go back in the oven. All right, our ribs are back out of the oven. The glaze has crystallized on the meat, and they're ready to eat. And as you can see, the meat is just falling off the bone. So I'm going to go ahead and do a taste test and make sure these turned out good. So good. The meat is so tender, the glaze is so sweet. It's absolutely delicious. So make sure to check out this recipe. It's on my blog, thetrailtohealth.com, and you can also find other delicious and healthy recipes in my cookbook, Wandering Palate, which is also available on my website and Amazon as well. I hope you enjoy the recipe.
I want ribs.
I'm jealous.
I want ribs so much now.
I never turned out like that.
Erica, send me a rib to the TV.